trust God, truly trust God. And faith without works is dead. Sometimes things come up in life and I'm worried about it. I might worry about it, but I gotta, cast my care to God. I gotta say, you know what, God, you got this. But at the same time, you can't be believing for something to change, but you're not putting in the work. That's why my dad says faith without works is dead. And that's why I try to do something every day to work towards what I want, so that as long as I'm putting in the work in the natural, my day-to-day life, God will, supply in the supernatural. And when you put those two together, great things can happen.
Welcome back to the DJ Henderson podcast. I'm your host, DJ Henderson, and this is season 6. Man, it's been a journey. We've been at it for a little over a year, about a year and a half now, and I just really appreciate everybody that's been supporting the show. Even if this is your first time tuning in, I really appreciate the support. Season 6 is going to be a big season, a lot of high-level guests, but I just want to take the time to say thank you for tuning in and supporting the show. If you're not already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn on post notifications so you never miss a show. Drop a like and a comment down below. All those things will be greatly appreciated. They'll help me out, help the channel out, and continue to support the show in those ways. I really appreciate it. And we're going to get right to this episode. Let's get it. Valentino Hart Jr., welcome to the show, my dog.
What's up? What's up? Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on here and taking the time to do this. I say every episode means a lot. I always feel like I'm still just starting off, even though this is season finale of season 6. I'm happy to have you on the season finale, going into season 7 soon, but this is the end of season 6. So thank you for being on here, bro.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, sir. First things first, Valentino Hart Jr. My name, I'm Daryl Henderson II Jr. Same thing. Talk to me about what it means to be named after your dad, what he means to you, and what that means to you.
Well, being a junior, I think, is definitely like something that I cherish very deeply. I think that I'm obviously part of my father, and I think my father's, coming from the Bahamas, at 19 years old with nothing and being able to live in a house in America, become a citizen, like it means a lot to me to carry on that name. And I've told people from when I was young that my son is going to have Valentino Hart III, and I want to continue that name. So it really means a lot to me being a junior and carrying that name.
For sure, definitely. Like I said, I'm named after my dad too, and it definitely means a lot to me. We similar in some ways. We be bumping heads a lot all the time, really. But I love my dad a lot, and I mean a lot to me being named after him. I'm the same way. I've been thinking I'm gonna name my son. He gonna be the third and all that kind of stuff. So for sure, definitely on the same kind of time with that. You talked about your dad growing up in the Bahamas. You were born here after he got here. You're from Tampa, Florida. Talk to me about being from Tampa, what the city means to you.
Well, being from Tampa, I mean, I was born in 2003. So, growing up here, I kind of saw Tampa. I've always known Tampa was a hot spot, but I feel like nobody else kind of realized that until like we kind of went in the Super Bowl and the Lightning started winning and stuff like that. And now everybody's seeing Tampa as this great place. And it just means so much to me that I was there from really the start of my life. And, going to Tampa Prep, which is in the middle of downtown, I've walked through all the streets of Tampa, rode my bike in Tampa. I mean, I have a lot of stories just going through Tampa. Even today, I could just tell you different memories that I have, just good and bad. And just having all that means a lot to me.
Yeah, I talk to people all the time from Tampa and not. I tell them how great of a city it is. People from here, sometimes people love it like us. Sometimes you hear people, I can't wait to leave Tampa. I'll be like, bro, just leave then. Nobody won't want you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like when people do all that because that's something you can keep to yourself. But I think Tampa definitely on the rise after Miami. I think it's pretty much just us and Orlando. Really, that's the main cities here for sure. So I think in the future, it'll be more and more on the rise. Every suburb, every area that's outside of the city limits is just growing fast. Like I'm out here, Wesley Chapel, New Tampa, Town and Country, everywhere that's outside of actual Tampa is just growing. So I think in a few years we'll definitely be up. We'll be more recognized for sure. Obviously, coming up, you started playing sports. I know you played basketball. You played college basketball, high school basketball. I'm not sure what sport you played before that, but talk to me about how you got into sports and then who put the basketball into your hands.
Well, funny story. So I've been playing sports from as long as I can remember, right around like 4 years old. And my first sport was actually soccer. And my dad had me play every sport. I mean, soccer, track, swimming, baseball, basketball, football. Like, I remember I went from soccer, then I went to football, and then I played a little bit of basketball. So when it comes to the person who put it in my hands, definitely my dad, because my dad played basketball in the Bahamas and things like that. So he definitely inspired me to play the game at a young age. And right around when I was, I think I'd want to say like 7 or 8 is when I started playing baseball. And a lot of people don't know this about me, but I played baseball for a long time before I played basketball. There was a gap. So right around, I played baseball for like 6 years. And then right around when I turned like 14 is when I started playing basketball again. And that's when I first went to Brandon High School, and then I ended up transitioning to Tampa Prep. So definitely my dad was the one that put the ball in my hands, and sports has just been a part of my life since as long as I can remember, really.
If you're tuned into this show through YouTube, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody you think should tune in. If you're listening to the show through a podcast service or a streaming website, please subscribe to the show, leave a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Leave your thoughts down below on what you think about the show. For sure. How did you choose between you wanted to play basketball, you wanted to play baseball? Like, what made you choose basketball and lean towards that way?
Really, I really think I just like went with my gut. I remember going to this elite camp at Dodgertown for baseball, and I had been playing with all this like high level talent. And I remember when I came home, I just told myself, you know, I want to just play basketball. I remember telling my dad, like, I don't want to play baseball no more. I want to play basketball. And right around that time, I was in, I think, exiting middle school. And, I played in the middle school basketball season, so I kind of already had it in my head, and being around friends around my local gym, the Mac Center, stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I like this basketball thing. And I like the fact that I wasn't good at it at first. And it was like a challenge. You know what I mean? I feel like I had been playing baseball for a long time. So that's when I kind of switched right there and just in my head. And I told him.
Definitely. I definitely feel that 100, 1000%. I tell people all the time, fans of the show or anybody that could go back to find it. I'm sure I said it multiple times in multiple episodes. I started playing basketball the same reason. Like I played football before, just like you played baseball. But when I started playing basketball, I was good at like the rec level. Then I started playing with my friends that I met that play AAU, and I was so trash and I wasn't good at all. But in football, I was like just naturally good. So in basketball, I just felt like once I put the work in, I had to realize that I had to work hard to get good to be able to compete. And then once I did that, I was like, I love it. Like I feel like this is just what I want, what I need to do, since I didn't put the time in, painted the canvas, and got to where I need to be. So I definitely feel that for sure. We just met in person recently. We just started working together this summer, our summer job. This is like our 3rd week or so. I feel like I know you for a lot longer than that. We talked about off camera. We talked about you getting into public speaking as a kid. I could hear it every day when we talk, especially now in this interview, more structured format, not necessarily how we talk in person, but I mean, pretty much the same. But talk to me about how you got into public speaking and how that's helped you in your life so far.
Well, what got me into public speaking, I would say, well, I started real young when I was in church and, doing the church plays. And I remember a lot of the kids being nervous, and I remember being excited. And I was like, I don't really feel that. I liked the crowd. I liked when people watched me. I liked it. So that was where it started. And then going through elementary school in Hillsborough County, we had something called the Tropicana speech. And, my dad was like, if you're going to do it, you might as well go hard at it. And I went, we practiced. And then I won for my class. And then I did it in front of my whole school. And I won it my 4th and 5th grade year. And I remember like people getting nervous and messing up and stuff like that. And I just remember feeling really comfortable public speaking. And it was always really fun for me. So that's where it kind of started. And then it transitioned into my high school, Tampa Prep. We had something called declamations, which is kind of the same thing, a speech competition. And I won that too. So I just have always enjoyed public speaking my mind. And I don't really think of it as something that's hard, because it's just you speaking about whatever you feel passionate about. So I love the crowd. Obviously I get nervous, butterflies, but I know by the time I go and speak to a crowd, I've already practiced enough to where even if I am nervous, it's coming out 100% every single time. So it's just really a passion of mine.
For sure. I feel like I never had to do, I mean, I had to do speeches in school and stuff, but I never had to do a real public speech for something that wasn't like a school assignment. But I do pretty good on my presentations in school. So I feel like I would be, from a starting level, I'd be all right at public speaking. I probably have to just keep working at it, just like anything else, to become good or elite or something like that. But I definitely feel that I always never understood why people were so scared to present in class and stuff. It's the same people you see every day, especially as a kid, like high school and stuff. it's the same in college, even more so. These people don't even care about school or you really. So like,
Right.
yeah. But I never really was the one that would just, how some people in class, when you doing public speaking or they get called on, they'll just shut down because they don't want to talk at all. Like I always felt like, just like you said, like people were so scared to talk. I just embraced it. It was really just a mental thing like anything else. And then also, like you said, if you're prepared properly, then it's probably not going to be too hard to go out there and get that speech if you got the right mindset, or if you're talking about something you feel passionate about also. So yeah, I definitely agree with everything you said there. You talked about your dad getting you into basketball. You played baseball, started playing basketball again. Talk to me about when you started to lock in more on basketball and when you started to really take it seriously. You wanted to take your game to the next level. What were those days like, and when did that happen?
I would say I started taking it seriously the summer going into my ninth grade year. So I had already graduated middle school, and I remember I wasn't good at all. I mean, I was kind of growing in my body still, and I wasn't really as good. And I remember the first day after school ended, I brought a ladder and a basketball, and I remember just being in the gym. I was like, I'm gonna work hard until I get really good, and it just was an everyday step by step process. And then when those days added up, I started getting a little better, and then I ended up going to my freshman year. I went to Brandon High School, so I remember I just was like, I wonder if they have a summer program, because usually at a high school, summer programs are kind of between the team. They don't really tell anybody else. So me and my dad were just like, well, might as well go and check it out. So I just walked in the gym, and there was a bunch of dudes in there, and he's like, the coach was like, you coming to Brandon? I'm like, yes, sir. And he's like, all right, let's go. Let's start practicing. And ever since then, it's just been workouts, stuff like that, building my passion for the game, stuff like that. So that's when I really started taking this serious going into my ninth grade year.
So you just talked about going to Brandon your freshman year. You got acclimated, got in with the summer program. You went there your freshman year. You transferred to Tampa Prep. Talk to me about what you saw as far as the differences between public school and private school when you transferred from Brandon to Tampa Prep, and some of the opportunities that you were able to have at Tampa Prep that you probably wouldn't have had at Brandon.
I think that there was an 360 difference between Brandon and Tampa Prep. I would say one of the first things I noticed when I first walked on the Tampa Prep campus, because we do our schoolwork on an iPad, and there were just iPads and these expensive phones and expensive items just being left out untouched. And in my head, I'm like, it's going to get stolen, because that's what I was used to more in Brandon. And I realized that was like a key difference. There wasn't any fighting, doing just, we all know bad things like that. There was none of that at Tampa Prep. So it was really a 360 difference. And I could kind of realize, I actually wrote one of my speeches on that, the differences between public and private school, and how like all the bad things that I guess can be present in a public school were not present at Tampa Prep. So that's what I would say is a big difference. And then also the academics, I would say Tampa Prep is a lot harder academically than a public school, but it gets you ready for college. Because when I went to college, if I'm being completely honest, I tell people this all the time. My high school was harder than my freshman year of college. I felt like my freshman year of college academically was a breeze, but that's because Tampa Prep prepared me for it. So a lot of academic opportunities. Tampa Prep offered things like SAT practice for free, stuff like that. And then they had a whole section called college counseling, which is people who are dedicated to making sure you get the college that you want to go. You go to the college that you want to go to. So I think that those differences is what allowed me to really, I guess, get better as a person, as a student, things like that.
Definitely. I definitely feel that. I talk about it on a couple shows as well, the difference between public and private school. It's a lot of big differences. You definitely get what you pay for, I feel like, between the two types of schools. And then also, I feel like that's something that's important in all kids, or most kids. Like anybody that wants their kids to succeed academically, I feel like the key is putting them in this place where they will struggle, that has structure, that has organization, that forces you to have all the skills that you need. Because once you get over that hump, as far as things being hard and difficult, etc., in school, then I think it's pretty much a breeze. Like I went to a public high school, but my middle school was a charter school. It was real tough. I used to be crying, got my first C in middle school, all kind of craziness. Pretty similar to Tampa Prep. It was a charter school, not a private, but I definitely feel that if I wouldn't have went there, school probably definitely wouldn't have been as easy as it is now for me. Even college is pretty easy. High school is a breeze. So definitely I feel that for sure. obviously you went to Tampa Prep. You talked about that, graduated from there, played there. Talk to me about basketball at Tampa Prep, playing for Coach Finland, what that was like, and what your experience overall was at Tampa Prep hooping. If you're tuned into this show through YouTube, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody you think should tune in. If you're listening to the show through a podcast service or a streaming website, please subscribe to the show, leave a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Leave your thoughts down below on what you think about the show.
My overall experience at Tampa Prep hooping was, I would say, a 10 out of 10. It was amazing. I think during my year at Tampa Prep, I developed into the average kid playing basketball to somebody who can really play, knows the game. And I think I give a lot of credit to Coach Finland for that. He kind of taught me a different side of basketball that I never was taught before. The X's and O's, how to really read the game a certain way. And that really gave me a lot of, it gave me an edge on my opponents. Definitely, Coach Finley helped me with the knowledge. And I also have to give a massive thank you to the assistant coach, Coach Rod Brooks. He's the one that found me at an AAU practice and told Coach Finley about me and helped me get into Tampa Prep. And he has been working with me since I was about 15 years old, when I was not good at all. I mean, even when I was on JV my sophomore year and I was coming off my injury, he helped me, countless workouts, and he taught me about the hard work of the game, truly loving the game, working out every day, 6 a.m., running, things like that. And he kind of, even when I didn't want to be led, he drugged me through and still led me because he knew what I had, my potential. So I'm forever thankful for Coach Rod, and I'm happy he actually got a new coaching job at Fave High School. So I'm really happy for him as well.
For sure. Shout out to Coach Finland, Coach Rob. I think that's major. Coach Finland, he's a legend. Not to say the least, he's a legend. My high school coach and him, they're pretty similar. Anytime we played them, or anytime I've seen my coach and Tampa Prep go up against each other, like him and Coach Finland will always like get into it. Not for real fight, but like they will always get into it. They always working the refs. Like they for real similar, I'm sure. So yeah, shout out to Tampa Prep, Coach Finland, definitely a legend, and that program has been going crazy for sure. After you graduated from Tampa Prep, finished up playing last year, this past season, you went to St. Leo for your freshman year of school in basketball. Talk to me about getting to St. Leo, adjusting to the college experience, and what was it like being there at St. Leo?
Well, getting to St. Leo, a past assistant coach, Coach Ryan Ham, he kind of reached out to me and got things going, and I ended up going to a tryout, and they liked me, and I ended up being able to go to St. Leo. And I think that my experience there was truly amazing. I think that even in 1 year, the people that were on my team are lifelong friendships, like, Santia Ramming, Francis Cio, Frank Webb, like all those guys, Robert Fry, Malik Tyson, like those are people that I considered friends for life. Like I would have them at my wedding, because when you go through those battles that we went through every single day, you kind of get a different type of closeness to where you could be a million miles away and that'll still be your main guy. You know what I mean? And also just the program taught me really a lot about hard work, showing up when you're mentally tired and going 100%. You may be a little bit banged up, still keep on going. And I think that the things that St. Leo taught me mentally on the basketball side of things is that, like, I think that it will lead me through the rest of my life, as in like my battles when it comes to either work or my business, my future businesses, modeling, things like that. So I think that it really is a blessing that I went to St. Leo this year.
For sure. That's something that I wanted to ask you about. This past year, you played at St. Leo, you hurt your back. Right now, as far as right now, this moment goes, you're not playing basketball right now. You want to be returning back to St. Leo. Not saying that it's not possible. Don't know what the future holds for you personally, but talk to me about what sports and basketball specifically has done for you. What do you think your experience playing sports has done and will do for you in the future?
I think that sports has really done more for me than I could have ever done for sports. Truly, I think that it taught me different values, things like losing and still coming back. When you get knocked down, getting back up, hard work, mental toughness, in my head, I think, now, we work together. So in my head, I'm like, if I can run 15 suicides and have to make the time, even though I'm tired, I could work 8 hours. You know what I mean? Like, it's that mental toughness of even when you're tired. I think basketball taught me respect, because, playing basketball, you got to respect the game. If you don't put in the work, you're not going to get those results. So I kind of carry that mindset throughout life. And I think that I've applied everything that I've learned from basketball into my life in every single way. So I think that I'm forever in debt to basketball as in what it's done for me.
For sure. I tell people all the time, I think sports is the best metaphor you can get for life possible. There's so much stuff that goes on day in, day out, even when you're not playing official games, practice, hanging out with your teammates, being a part of a group, being a part of a team, knowing what it takes to win, all that kind of stuff, all the skills that you just talked about, and there's more that you didn't talk about. Everything I feel like that you go through in sports is a great thing to prepare you for life. So I agree with that for sure. I also feel what you said about just building that relationship with your teammates. They become your brothers, friends for life. Even the ones you feel like you don't even like that much, for real, as much as your closer friends, they still your dogs, they still your bros. So they still were in the trenches with you, ran sprints with you, sweated, bled, all that kind of stuff with you. So I definitely feel that. And that's really how it goes. I think that's been, I always think, am I doing the right things as far as meeting people, networking with people and stuff like that in the real world? But sometimes it comes back to me like I'm meeting and networking and building a closer relationship than I probably would with somebody else that's random, with my teammates who I don't know what they're going to be doing in the future, but there's still resources that I can call on and they can call on me too. So I definitely feel that as far as your teammates becoming a part of your life, becoming family, friends, yeah, all that kind of stuff. Definitely. You just briefly touched on it while you were talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. Somebody might have heard it, didn't take you as serious, but right now, something that you're pursuing, that you've been doing, you're a model, you're modeling. Talk to me about that process. That's something that we don't hear really often. Most of the people I'm interviewing are strictly athletes trying to work on their business or do this or do that. But talk to me about the process of getting into modeling. How did you even think about coming about it? How did you have the confidence to start doing it? Just talk to me about getting into modeling.
Growing up, taking many pictures, either professionally done or people have always told me, you need to start modeling. Like you can really be a model. And I've heard it my whole life. And so one day when one of my friends, I was in the car with him, his name is Jose Pena. He actually is the MLB pitcher for the Phillies right now. His mother texted him about a modeling agency job. And I was like, hey, get me in contact with her. I would like to, see what this is about, because it's so funny. I've been thinking about modeling. I texted her, we got in contact. Next thing you know, she's like sending my pictures off, taking a bunch of pictures, this and that. And then these companies, Clark Talent and Level Talent, got back to me and they wanted to, sign me and stuff like that. And I think that that's how it started. And then right around that same time, I got a DM from a company called Spa Sciences, and which is a facial, like a skincare, facial, like cosmetic business. And they reached out to me and they were like, we would love for you to model for us. And if you even look on my Instagram now, I have a video with them. I've done TikToks for them and I went modeling for them. So that's how it kind of got started for me.
Definitely. As far as modeling, business, anything in the future, what are some of your future goals and plans? Some things that you're planning to put in line, some things that you have in line, some things that you want to put in line. Just what do you plan on doing in the future? What are some things you plan on doing in the future? If you're tuned into this show through YouTube, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody you think should tune in. If you're listening to the show through a podcast service or a streaming website, please subscribe to the show, leave a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Leave your thoughts down below on what you think about the show.
Some things I plan on doing in the future is, I would say, with modeling, now that I am getting emails about different jobs, just getting different jobs, building my portfolio so that I can start modeling for bigger companies, more companies, stuff like that, getting my name way out there. I've been really thinking about, and you kind of also put this seed in my head, starting a YouTube, because, I'm not afraid of the camera. I like doing that type of stuff. And, I would like to think that I'm funny. I hope you think I'm funny too. But now, yeah, that. And then also, saving my money, stuff like that, start investing, finishing my master's degree, and then getting into my field, because I'm trying to get my degree in social work. So finishing that up. And then as time goes on, I continue to build, purchase things, start my own businesses, stuff like that. And yeah, that's the plan, really.
Definitely. That's something that I always think about. Sometimes, a lot of times I stress myself out. Sometimes I don't as much, just feeling like I'm behind or I don't know what I want to do and stuff like that. Like as young adults, it's kind of hard because we want to get our life going. We want to start figuring out how this is going to work, how we're going to pay for this, when's this going to happen, this. And a lot of the time it could be overwhelming. But then when I talk to my dad, he'll talk to me about what he was doing when he was 21, how he got into this path when he was at this age, this. Even not just my dad, adults, period. You always hear you have time, you'll figure it out, stuff like that. But we just want to figure it out now. So I'm glad to hear that you got some stuff lined up that you planning on working on, that you're already working towards. I think that's major for sure. Just having a plan, having some kind of plan, even though you don't know exactly where you're going to end up. I think that's the key. That's what I'm trying to figure out, stay consistent at working towards something. I always tell people slow motion better than no motion. That's pretty self-explanatory to me, but to anybody else out there, that means just do something to push yourself forward versus not having no motion at all. That's one of my things I say to myself. So for sure. What's been the most difficult thing that you went through that's kept you from getting to where you want to be? What's been the most difficult thing that you've been through thus far in your life?
In my life, I would say some difficult things that I went through. I would probably say, my father and my mother both going through breast cancer. My dad had breast cancer when I was a lot younger, like elementary school ages, and then going into my sophomore year, going to Tampa Prep, my mom had breast cancer as well. So dealing with that was, of course, obviously pretty rough on the family, but I think that I don't even really see it as something that was too bad because my parents are such strong people. They never allowed us to think negative. My mom wouldn't even say that she had cancer. My mom would never even say those words. She still doesn't even say it because, she's one of those people that I'm not gonna, if you speak it, life and death are in the power of the tongue, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So she always spoke positivity, even, it was tough, seeing your mom lose her hair, things like that. And my mom stayed strong through it all. And now they're both in remission. And they're both cancer free. So that's definitely a good testament of my life. But yeah, at first that was definitely probably one of the toughest things that I've went through.
Definitely not something that's easy for anybody to go through at any age, for sure not a kid or a child. So definitely respect. And I'm glad to hear that your parents are doing a lot better now. What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I've ever received was probably from my dad. And it's really cliche, but he said, trust God, truly trust God, and faith without works is dead. And I think that those both feed off of each other because, sometimes things come up in life and I'm worried about it. I might worry about it, but I gotta, cast my care to God. I gotta say, you know what, God, you got this. But at the same time, you can't be believing for something to change, but you're not putting in the work. That's why my dad says faith without works is dead. And that's why I try to do something every day to work towards what I want, so that as long as I'm putting in the work in the natural, my day-to-day life, God will, supply in the supernatural. And when you put those two together, great things can happen. So that's definitely the greatest advice that I've ever gotten. And it was from my dad.
For sure. What's one or two quotes you just gave? You just gave one major one or two major ones, but what's some things that you say to yourself every day that help you keep going, that keep your mind right, keep you sharp, just keep you up on your toes?
I would say something that keeps me sharp on my toes. I would say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. There's a lot of people who, I think of life as levels. Some people start at this level and some people are born and they're already at the top. They got money and things like that. And it's like, I think of that, it's more of a sport quote, but when you apply it to life, talent, but this is more like where you are when you grow up. And some people might have more than you, but it's like, as long as you work hard and believe in yourself, you're going to get to their point. It may not be right now, but y'all are going to end up in the same place, So I just keep that to keep me motivated. And then something I always say to myself, I just look in the mirror and then I just look at myself and I say, I believe in myself. Because with all these different changes, with me not playing no more, people might have gotten shocked by it or may think it's some type of a bad idea, but I know that I believe in myself and who I am and, who God made me to be. So I just keep trusting God, and whatever he tells me, I just follow, really. So I just continue to believe in myself.
What's your why? What keeps you motivated? Just keep going, striving to do big things.
My family, definitely my family. My parents, they work so hard, like really hard, and they sacrifice. I know you see me coming to work with the car. That's my mom's car. My mom catches rides to work so that I can be able to go to work and not have to worry about catching the bus. And that type of stuff means a lot to me. So, kind of carrying the family name and being that next generation, because my parents worked so hard coming from 2 different countries to get to America. Now it's my turn to be, now my kids don't got to worry about different things that, my parents might have had to worry about, stuff like that.
For sure. If you can meet and spend a day with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
I would say first person, Dennis Rodman. That's my favorite basketball player ever, because I always loved rebounding from when I first started playing basketball. So Dennis Rodman. I would say Jesus, definitely Jesus. That's probably gonna be a great conversation, really. And then I'll probably say No Cap. This is my favorite rapper, and I've always, you know how I go. That's been my guy since I was like 14 years old. So I would love to meet him.
Most def. That's definitely a lit 3. No Cap, Jesus. Who was the first person you said?
Rodman.
And Dennis Rodman. That's lit. That's Dennis Rodman. That's 3 people that's never been said before. Out of all the 60 episodes, this is season finale, season 6. That's the first time nobody ever said all 3 of those guests. So I think all those people would be great people to hang out with. I love No Cap. Dennis Rodman, that definitely would be a time for sure. And Jesus, that's the greatest answer you could give. So for sure, I'm rocking with that. Valentino Hart, again, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you doing this. Great interview. Man, definitely enjoyed this, catching up, talking more than we already talk. We talk every day at work, but yeah, doing this was definitely lit. I'm glad we got it done. So Valentino, tell everybody where they could find you on social media, anything you want to plug in, anything you got up and coming that you want people to know about. Just let everybody know where to find you and what's coming up next.
Well, you can find my Instagram. It's at Valentino Hart Jr. And then you can add me on, follow me on TikTok, Valentino Hart. So those are the 2 right there that I'm probably most active on for sure. So you guys can follow me on that.
Definitely. Tino, follow him on Instagram, TikTok, like he said. That's going to be down in the description below. YouTube channel going to be coming soon.
Sure.
That's definitely coming soon. I'm going to make sure he gets started with that. Don't even trip, y'all watching this. If y'all want to see Tino on YouTube, make sure y'all tap in when that come out. TikTok, Instagram, like you said. Any last words you want to say? Any motivation? Anything you want to say to anybody that's tuned in right now?
I would say the same things I say to myself. Trust God and believe in yourself, and don't let nobody tell you anything different from something that you believe God has showed you to do. And keep plugging away every single day, and you'll get to where you want to be one day.
Big facts. Valentino Hart Jr., I appreciate it. And that's it for this episode. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in right now. Been tuned in from the start, just tuned in today, just tuned in yesterday. Anybody that's taking the time to watch anything I ever created, I appreciate it. It's been a journey. Season 6, this is the end of it. Season finale, great season finale. I appreciate you again. Season 7 coming real soon. Stay tuned for that. Merch coming real soon. Stay tuned for that. In-person interviews, that's coming real soon.
Gotta be on that.
Yeah, make sure y'all stay tuned, stay locked in. Trying to keep getting better for you guys, for myself. So everybody that's tuned in, I appreciate you to support. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me, like I say on every episode. And that's it for season 6. Season 7 on the way soon. See you on the next episode. If you're tuned into this show through YouTube, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody you think should tune in. If you're listening to the show through a podcast service or a streaming website, please subscribe to the show, leave a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Leave your thoughts down below on what you think about the show.